We are continuing our coverage tonight of day 7 of the trial of Maxwell Anderson.
We are joined now by criminal defense attorney Jonathan LaVoy from Kim and LaVoy. We have a lot to get to tonight, but let's begin with that DNA. We've been talking about this all night. It came from the jacket that Anderson wore while prosecutors say he lit Sade Robinson's car on fire. Under cross, the DNA analyst said that the Robinson's DNA on the jacket could have come from her wearing it. And this is the first time we've talked about actual DNA in this case.
Right. DNA is what the juries want. DNA is everything in a homicide case. What this shows is that she touched that jacket in some fashion, and this was the jacket he was wearing when he torched the car and got onto the bus. So it definitely matters. But again, we're missing a lot of other DNA in this case, including at his house and at other locations.
And the defense will pound that, right, in days to come and when they get their chance. So much technical talk today, specifically about the route that went from Duke's to his home and where it went after. We caught him on this camera and this camera and this. Why is that route so important? Why does it matter that they were so specific? They could have gone through Menominee Falls and back.
They're tying it back to when the car was torched.
Okay.
Because they know that Maxwell Anderson left that car. So they're trying to pinpoint where he was from that point all the way back to when they left the apartment to say, look, no one else was with her. It had to be him. There's no other explanation.
We heard Bria Jones just mention that today one of the jurors was caught kind of dozing off during the testimony. And the state now has fewer than 10 witnesses to go to call in the case. Do you think they're saving something for the end? Do you think that they are thinking, oh no, things are getting a little bit stale, we need to amp it up a little bit?
There's been some tedious days here with a lot of complex data information. They need to have a little bit of an aha moment where they present something that makes the jury get into it. So I think they're going to be calling some significant witnesses in the next day or two, and I think that they're going to hold their best for last.
And who do you think that might be? You say it's always important to humanize the victim. The victim cannot speak for herself in this case. Does that mean a family member might?
I think it's very possible that they might bring one of Miss Robinson's family members to humanize her, to talk about who she was as a person. So the jury's left with, this is more than just data. This is a real person. And I believe that kind of evidence can be very powerful to finish a homicide prosecution.
Talking about evidence I didn't quite understand was introduced. There's video from March 29th, a few days before their first date, outside of Victor's, where they seem very friendly, very close to each other. Why does that matter? We knew that they knew each other. Why does it matter that they knew each other a few days before? What's the state trying to prove with that little bit of information?
It doesn't really help the state, but I think the defense might say, look, at all of the evidence shows that these two people were hanging out. They seem to be happy together. There doesn't appear to be a motive for this type of violence. So
but the state introduced it.
The state introduced it, but I think the state's just throwing everything they've got and trying to not give something for the defense to present later.
Speaking of the DNA evidence, that red couch, that picture that supposedly is supposed to surface of Sade Robinson on the couch, putting her in the apartment, the detective had alluded today there was no DNA needed. We don't need to test that couch. Why would they say that?
I think they have that picture, and I think this picture we're waiting for, we've talked about it for days. I think this picture is going to be probably the key piece of evidence that the state is holding back. So I think they're going to be able to say Sade Robinson was in that apartment on that couch at that time, and good thing or bad things were happening at that time.
The aha moment, as you referred to.
The aha moment, that's right.
Jonathan LaVoy, thank you. Kim and LaVoy, they've been helping us through the last 2 weeks of this trial.